So the Musashi is coming back. It is now available in the Lighthouse, and at the time of recording though, it's not quite started yet. I don't know what the minimum value is going to be, but I guarantee the Musashi is going to be very, very expensive to get. And in this video, I want to go over my opinions on the Musashi, compare it to the Yamato, and play a live game while talking about some of the differences and strategies you can employ with the Musashi. For starters, if you need to know, this is a tier 9 Yamato. There's some changes, but not enough to make me think that this is really a tier 9 ship, which is pretty insane. The Musashi versus Yamato differences, though, mainly come down to the sigma of the guns, meaning the tendency for the shells to land in the center of your aiming reticle, and of course the AA. It's way, way weaker on the Musashi, but as we all know, if there's a carrier in your game, a Yamato is extremely vulnerable to CVs as well. So I don't really see this as a major downside to the Musashi anymore like it was back in the RTS days. It was very different back then where Yamato could actually do okay. Not saying it was good, but it could do okay, and Musashi was just a free target, straight up. Now they're both free targets for the carriers, so that weakness is basically gone in comparison to the Yamato. The sigma value for the Musashi is 1.8, I believe, and the Yamato is 2.1, so a pretty significant difference there, considering ships like the Fuso and New Mexico that are very inaccurate are around that 1.5, 1.6 range, and then we get into German battleships with their 1.8, American battleships with primarily 1.9 sigma, a few that are 2.0, and then the Yamato is the only battleship with 2.1. Unfortunately, Yamato has pretty poor vertical dispersion. You're going to see that as well with the Musashi, but they're both very, very hard-hitting battleships, and to have these guns at tier 9 is a huge advantage. It's perhaps not the biggest advantage Musashi has, though. The largest advantage Musashi has, in my opinion, is the hit points, 97,300. You actually have 100 hit points more than the Yamato does, at a tier lower. And the reason I don't think the guns are as big of an advantage simply comes down to overmatching tier 7 battleships. 406mm battleships can do that as well. Even 380mm battleships can do this. So the extra advantage you're gaining is when you're getting up tiered into tier 11 and tier 10 games. So while it's very, very nice to have, it's not like the Musashi is going to crush tier 7s any more than a ship like the Missouri or Iowa would. Now, something interesting I want to point out is that I've played a ton of Yamato games. This was my first tier 10 ship all the way back in 2015. So the Musashi is a ship that I know how to play extremely well. And interestingly enough, I have nearly 140k average in my Yamato. Yet in the Musashi, I'm actually averaging 146. Of course, it's only over 60 games, but it really shows you what the Musashi is potentially capable of. It is a tier 10 at tier 9. As for the recommended build, if you do manage to get your hands on this ship, it's the standard battleship build. Here, there's no legendary mod, so we're of course going for reload, concealment. We have so much HP that having damage control system mod 2 is incredibly useful, reducing the amount of damage we take from fires. Of course, we're taking aiming systems mod 1, and the first two are also extremely standard for battleships, and I'm definitely still using the same commander. I always want to take Grease the Gears, since that is going to be the biggest pain point if you haven't played this ship already. Yeah, the turret traverse is really slow, over a minute for 180 degrees, and that's with improved Grease the Gears. Don't fall for the trap, though, of going with main battery mod 2. You definitely need the improved accuracy on the Musashi. As for the rest of the skills, it's pretty standard. The normal battleship fire prevention, concealment, and extra heals, adrenaline rush, and even more tankiness. Okay, I think I just got about as unlucky as I possibly could. What is this? A ship with no AA, and I'm trying to show you a game in this ship, and we get... Okay. It seems like there's some issues going on with either the super ship's implementation or submarines. This is pathetic. I really wish Wargaming would put an effort into maintaining their game and not just adding things willy-nilly without testing into the main game. So as we can see, I now get Blessed Matchmaker facing Tier 7. Yeah, that last one didn't go particularly well, did it? This ship will definitely struggle in the super ship games. Of course, I got very unlucky to have so few other surface ships in the game, but what can you do, right? This ship will absolutely dominate in things like ranked, so that's what I'm assuming people are going to use it for anyway. Neptune... Oh, that dispersion, though. Oh no. Yeah, think long and hard before you go blowing I don't know what resource on this ship, but yeah, that happens. That happens, you know, and then the guy gets to free farm you. It's a battleship with poor dispersion. It's got a lot of HP, it's got humongous guns, but it's a battleship with poor dispersion. And I really, really, really dislike those. I think the more I'm playing this year, the more I'm disliking battleships with poor dispersion. And that's basically all of them, but this one's especially bad. That one was just a miss, but I have no clue how that Neptune didn't take anything. That's very frustrating. Very, 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 very frustrating. Obviously, what you can do in a ship like this, you can just be a bit of a bully in this matchmaker, so I'm able to play overly aggressive, I would say, and that's mainly down to my HP pool here. But I got a tough time. It's difficult to be confident in a ship when that kind of thing happens. The turrets are obviously a problem in situations like this, as you can see. Takes a while to even relocate and turn them. Trying to hit the Brindisi, although Mogamis are pretty good at exploding, so I might go after him. Especially if he turns out here. They're angled, right? So my dispersion is so bad that I really don't trust myself to be able to hit angled cruisers. So if he turns broadside, sure. Here, I'll go after him then. I do have to be careful. Submarines are around. DDs can be around. Okay, and then he detonates. That was a double citadel, so that's doing a lot to him, but my goodness, you guys are getting the true World of Warships experience here at this video. I'm telling you, this is the highest of highs and the lowest of lows that you're going to ever see in this video game. Wow. This is crazy, man. I never get games. Usually an entire day or an entire week will just be abysmal. And then I'll get a few days or a few good games here and there where, you know, detonations, perfect dispersion into broadsides, all that good stuff. But today it's every other salvo. It's a different story. Pretty nuts. Obviously, if you're wanting to play ranked and play a battleship in ranked, Musashi is one of the better choices, right? You're going to be easily countering the enemy battleships. And, well, you're not quite as good as a Missouri at controlling the game, I would say. I would definitely pick a Missouri over a Musashi for controlling games, since the radar is just so important. This ship is... I mean... How do you play against this? When you're a tier 9 battleship, it's really, really tough to deal with, for sure. Although, we will notice our anti-submarine warfare is pretty weak. Pretty weak here. The Lexington's probably just going to come bomb us, so... Yeah, there's not much I can do about this, right? Lexington's a tier lower, and he even ate one of our flak puffs, and he still didn't lose a plane. That's pretty incredible. So yeah, we're a bit of a sitting duck here. You definitely want to be playing around your teammates in a ship like this. Because, well, he dropped across my ship. I don't know why, but he did. So that's why I'm going to be all right a little bit. Really just waiting for this guy to make a turn, honestly. I know I overmatch him, but he's got to go for a turn here at some point to try and get away. I think that's about now. I'm getting very, very fortunate that this carrier is dropping across my ship. Yeah, we're getting very lucky here. Is that a dead rune? Yep. Yeah, so big range. The guns hit very hard. I mean, we got 3 overpens there, and we still did some pretty good damage. Oh, I wish that Lexington would have stayed spotted. Giving broadside to an Alsace at this range, I'm not too worried, but still. I think those planes are actually going to spot the Musashi, or the Lexington. These should come spot him really quick, right? I actually don't know. Ah, too bad. I really want to kill this carrier because obviously that's the biggest threat to me. You guys have probably seen the carrier hunting divisions and that kind of thing where people take range mod Musashis out and try and absolutely annihilate carriers. If you do it in a carrier div, you know, you get instant spotting, all that good stuff for free. You can do some nasty stuff with a pair of Musashis in these tier 9 games. The dispersion, of course, is the problem. This Alsace I can overmatch, right? So that's not a huge deal. Still can't hit him. That's quite disappointing. That's a dead Cleveland. Perhaps we can ping here and see if our carrier friend will spot. That'd be great. What is the range actually? 5 kilometers, not even 6. It's 5. Oh man, that's rough. All right, I'm gonna start turning my turrets for him and drop these and hope. I think I still want to... Oh, nice, they got him. Good. I still kind of want to keep my turrets available for the Lexington. Especially if we see our carrier going for him, right? And yeah, we definitely want to try and force him to drop across our ship, right? Not terribly scared of a Colorado at this point. 15 kilometers is pretty far away. And yeah, that's what we're waiting for. Just make sure we lead him enough. He's turning, so he's going to be a little slow, I think. Just chilling bow in. You can see how the HP pool really is the strongest point of this ship, in my opinion. Because these broadside shots, we're doing that all day with tier 9, other tier 9s. And in fact, I think I'd do a better job in a Missouri or something with a little more accurate guns. But the ability to just sit and tank damage is this ship's strong suit. It has, I mean, it's a tier higher in HP, right? What's an average tier 9 battleship's health pool? You know, it's 75k, somewhere in there. The healthier ones are up at 80, and this one's at 97. Right? Like, that's just unheard of at basically every single tier, to have that level more of HP. So, a really strong ship is the Musashi. It's definitely one that you'd probably want to get if you're looking to play tier 9 ranked. It's a really fun ship. Maybe you want a captain trainer for Japanese battleships, that kind of thing. It's really solid, but it's going to be expensive. I don't know what it's going to go for. Of course, those auctions are always secretive in that way, but I can't see this going for cheap at all. Which is unfortunate, but that's how they're going to do these previously removed ships, right? Wouldn't be surprised if we see Belfast again, Kutuzovs, all those things that have been removed from the game. And there we go, up to 131k, even with whiffing entirely on a broadside Neptune at 10 kilometers. Or even, was it 10 kilometers? It was something like that. I mean, We could have been 160 easily, I think. A couple citadels there would have been very, very nice. So it's very strong. I just don't like it. If you must know, I really don't like playing Musashi because I could be playing a Yamato. And in this matchmaker, I could have been a Missouri or something with more accuracy. I'd still be overmatching a Colorado. I would be doing better against cruisers, I would say, given the better dispersion a lot of those other battleships have. And since I would have at least some AA, obviously not a ton, but some AA on a ship like the Missouri or the Iowa, maybe I could have still sat where I did, tanking a little bit, baiting the carrier, and I would have been fine. I don't know this, but perhaps. I was watching where the plane was coming from. Those planes are very, very telling of where an enemy ship is because they cover a very tight circle around them. So pretty easy to tell where the Brindisi was coming out from. And you want to be looking for things like that given the extremely poor turret traverse. And are we going to get this guy? Let's see. Nice. Look at that. 4 kills. Pretty good damage. All right. It turned out all right. That first game, though, wow. That was unfortunate. But this one was amazing. Of course, we're going to do great against the tier 7s. And we're going to struggle against super ships. That is guaranteed in this game. So in my opinion, I really don't think this ship is a must-buy or you have to have it. There's a thought that this ship is so broken, overpowered that you have to get it. And while it is a tier 10 at tier 9, personally, I don't find it that insane. I actually don't enjoy playing this ship all that much, like I said. If you're someone who wants to collect all these old ships that were removed from the game, I mean, you're going to get it anyway, right? But for those of you who barely have whatever resource this ship is coming out for, I don't know if this one's worth getting. It's a frustrating ship to play. The RNG is incredibly frustrating in a Musashi, even more so than a typical battleship. So those are my thoughts on the Musashi. You can leave yours in the comments down below. For prospective buyers, I'm sure you should go look in the comments, see what other people have to say as well. But all I can say at this point is if you're going to try and get it, best of luck to you.